I think what's feminine though is being sensual and being seductive.
Yes, 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 yeah.
That's
Because sensual is being in touch with your senses.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's to me that's the feminine piece, and that has to do with, like you said, the senses. And there's a difference between being sensual and being sexy as well, right? And
Yep.
being seductive
Yeah.
being sexy. I gave this analogy, like being sexy is you saying to someone, you know, me and you are on a date right now, right? And we're having a meal, and I want to be sexy, and we start talking about yoga, and I say, "Oh yeah, I'm so flexible," right? That's sexy. But what's seductive
Yeah.
is while we're eating our meal, I savor the food and I slow down and I say,
I
"Oh
love
my
that.
god, this salad is
Mm.
you've really good taste." That's seductive.
Oh, I think she's just seducing me right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cilia Li Show. It's your girl Celia. So, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that one of my favorite topics is not just self love but also femininity. Now, I've only really spoken about the topic on my podcast like once, but I've never really been able to go in depth because I haven't found the right person. And today I have invited a beautiful lady who is actually known as the femininity queen, the femininity expert. Yeah, without further ado, let us welcome Kat Sanu.
Hey babe, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here
Yeah,
today.
I'm so like, ugh, and I think you're the perfect person to have this conversation with.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
because you have that feminine vibe. Obviously, you're all
Oh,
about self love,
yeah.
and obviously that's a massive part of your feminine energy as well.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
See what you just said there?
Mhm.
I know you're perfect because I've been wanting to find, like I said, I want to find the right person to come on because I want someone that not just dresses the part, thinking, oh
Mm.
yeah, I'm going to be more feminine by just, I'm not going to pay on the first day. That makes me feminine, but actually the mindset
Yes.
and the embodiment,
Yes.
basically.
Yeah.
And also, for some of you who actually, I'm sure probably a lot of my listeners probably know you because you might even be part of a community. She has a community of over, let me get this right, 370,000
Yeah.
over 370,000 across Instagram
And
and
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
She is the founder of the Femme Guide.
Yes.
Yeah, and an award-winning vlogger. Like,
In the
wow.
past.
Claim it. So before we go into like deep conversation about femininity,
Mhm.
I want to know about your story because we love
Mm.
a story here.
Mm.
So before you were the feminine queen,
Yeah.
who were you before? Have you always been this feminine?
Oh, I
Like,
wish.
like I know there's always a story, like, because
Yeah.
for example, I do too. So tell
Yes.
us, take us back, take us back.
Do you know what's really interesting? I've been just before today. I was watching this Netflix series called The Glory,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about. I don't know if you've seen it. It's all about this girl trying to get revenge for being bullied, and it was something that reminded me of my childhood because that was very much not as severe as
Mm-hmm.
the K drama, but very
Oh,
much.
wait, hold on. You watch K-drama?
Yes, I
Oh my God.
do. Do you?
I used to when I was younger, but I
Uh-huh.
haven't watched K-drama in such a long
So
time. So wait, you like K-pop and that then?
no, I don't
Okay.
listen to K-pop,
Yeah.
but I'm a cinephile. I studied film in university,
Ah,
so I'm very much into storytelling.
okay.
And I just came across a few K-dramas. One
Yeah.
I didn't expect, Crash Landing on You, which I thought would be really cheesy, and I
Mm-hmm.
ended up really liking it. Ever since then, I was like, oh, I guess I'm one of those people
Yeah.
now.
Okay, wait,
But
sorry, going back, sorry.
might have to swap some recommendations afterwards.
I mean, no, I haven't. Like I said, I haven't watched it in such a long time. My brother
Mm.
is into it,
Oh
and maybe
yeah.
I can ask him and then send it to you. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. But anyway.
So she gets bullied in the show. That
Mm,
reminded me of my childhood because I grew up very much a hermit, shy. Like I kind of see myself as a caterpillar in the beginning stages.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the kind of girl who, when it came to school, like girls would, I moved schools a lot, and girls would come up to me and be like, "Do you want to hang out? Like, do you want to play?" And I would say no to them, Cilia, because I felt like I don't want you to waste your time getting to know me because I'm not worth getting to know. Like that's where my
Oh.
confidence was at. Um, and then I hit a point where I was doing amazing in school. Like I've always been that like good grades, super
Yeah.
smart, nerdy girl. But I started to notice this thing in school, which was like when we'd have special events or people come and visit, other girls would get asked to show people around, and I kept thinking like, why are they getting opportunities when I have the highest grades?
Mm.
And I started to study and watch them, kind of like an outsider. It's giving Dan from Gossip Girl, or like you know, the person just watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to notice like, I don't think it's just grades that makes you cool in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be confident and charming, but I didn't know how to do any of that stuff.
Mm.
And then I moved from Ireland to London, and it was like a brand new opportunity for me because I was like, no one knows that I'm unpopular. Like, I could just
Mm.
decide that I'm confident, I could just decide that I'm fabulous, and everyone has to believe me. And I started reading this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And
Mm.
I started practicing it on my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started working. Like people started liking me, and I started to actually feel more confident. And that's really like how my journey began. And it ended
Mm.
up being a situation when I went from having no friends to having obviously a ton of friends, a ton of great relationships, but also like being on stage, you know, at speaking engagements in like in front of 1,200 people, like
Wow.
executives in my industry. But there was something that was happening then at the same time. I wasn't presenting myself how you were supposed to present yourself in the corporate world. I
Mm.
was just being me, and that was what people were buying into. And me was actually soft. Me was feminine. Me was girly. Me was charming. And I started to realize that when I was looking on social media, I'm curious if you've seen this. It feels like it's either one of two things. It's either you're super driven and ambitious and a total boss babe. We see this in TV and
Mm-hmm.
films,
Yeah.
but your love life is a mess and you don't have any feminine energy, and or you're super into your feminine energy and your self-care and your self-love and your wellness, but you have no hopes and
Yeah.
aspirations in life. And my experience and the women who I was meeting, they were both.
Mm.
And so I just started sharing on Instagram like my experiences, small stuff like going on dates or networking.
Mm-hmm.
But I talk about the psychology like behind
Oh.
things. And yeah, and then that's just how my Instagram page, the Femme Guide, started to blow up, and
Mm-hmm.
just me talking about my personal experience. And I
Yeah.
started coaching, and it just grew from there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can I go back a little bit when you said that you felt like people, sorry, you felt you weren't worthy for people to get to know you. Where did
hmm
that come from?
I oh okay. I didn't know at the time, but
Yeah.
I know now. We all have different things in our life that gives us confidence.
Mm.
I kind of see confidence on three layers: the
Mm.
external, which is the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone looking at you, just going on your Instagram, they'd be
Yeah.
like, without even reading any words, they'd be like, "Oh, Cilia is so confident because the way
Yeah.
you walk, the way you
Mm.
talk, the way you carry yourself,
Yeah.
it's giving." I know my worth, right?
Yeah.
But then there are people who are unlike you because they have that external piece, but then you talk to them
Mm.
and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe she's not or he's not that confident.
Mm.
So there's another component, which is the lifestyle layer.
Mm.
So when we earn more money, when we have a great network of friends, when we travel, all of those things make us more confident,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that piece was missing because the only thing I had that I felt like gave me value was
Was your
my
grades?
grades.
Yeah.
I didn't have a social circle.
Mm.
Well, I mean, not that you have a romantic life per se at that time,
Mm.
but none of the boys liked me. I was
Mm.
being bullied. You know, I really just had my grades. My family life felt tough at the time. And so that's where that low self-esteem came from.
You know what? It kind of is similar to my story.
Tell me.
When I was in school, no boys liked me.
Really?
I call myself the ugly duckling.
Look at her now.
So the photos up. The photos in the school photos, no one can see them. Okay, basically, literally, it's the stereotypical nerd. Glasses.
Right.
I still wear glasses, but I'm wearing contact lenses. But glasses, braces, okay, like train tracks.
Wow.
That typical look.
Yeah.
But also, what was worse that when I first had braces, I had a massive gap in my front tooth. Like you can put a £1.50 up like that.
Oh my god! And kids are mean. Yes. Kids are so mean.
Yeah, and especially in secondary school, you start to wanting to feel attractive, want the attention, and people you just know people find you ugly, and you're just like, oh, no one's gonna like me. So that's I feel you about the self-esteem, and getting comments about saying. I remember one time I was in a class, a DT design and technology class, and I overheard this girl talking to this boy, and he was like, and she was like, "I'll rate the girls in our class, right?" And then when she came to my name, she was like, "Cilia," and she just laughed, Cilia, and the guy was like that, and then she goes, -1, like that.
Not the minus.
Yeah.
That's rude.
And then obviously I didn't turn around. I just pretend I didn't hear it. But obviously deep down inside it hurt.
Yeah.
So things like that. And then and at the time also the only thing I had was grades. Because coming from a Chinese background, I had to do well. So I tried to do my best, get the grades. That's only I attach my worth to my grades basically. Right. So basically what you're saying is we often attach our worth to our social network, to our the amount in a bank, our social status, and all of that stuff. As opposed to go on.
All of those things are important, and we should attach some level of worth to it. But I think the issue probably you and I made is we attached it to just one thing, and so when that one thing starts to fall, like when I went to grammar school, suddenly I wasn't the smartest kid in my school anymore, and I'm like, well, if I'm not the smartest, then who am I? I felt like I lost my identity. How did you grow past that? Because hearing you talk about that, I'm like, oh, she was a caterpillar as well. So how did you break out of your cocoon?
It's been a long journey. So the very first, I would say, when I turned 16. When you're 16, you can wear contact lenses. Right. So that's like the first thing, and immediately my confidence just went up. Not all the way, but just a bit more confident, because I knew people were like, you got to see my face like that anyway. But I know it's not all about the looks. But anyway, so wearing contact lenses. Then I did start getting a few boys fancying me, so that's when I started feeling a bit better. Then my braces got taken off. It's just what's that old movie called? Princess.
Princess Diaries.
Yeah. That the way she just transformed, just like that. And what's the other one? And then what else? What's next? Then I graduated from school. I guess going to the gym.
Oh my gosh, tell me about that. Because I found out about the gym very late. I'm talking 6 months.
You got to tell me about your weight loss journey as well. I want to talk about that. So I used to be one of them girls who just go to gym when it's summer. Winter time, hibernate. Absolutely no way I'm going to go anywhere because it's cold. And when I did go to the gym, it was just cardio, not weightlifting, because I was scared I was going to be manly and all of that. But then when I got to 21, I started doing more research. Let me go back a bit. When I was 21, I took part in a beauty pageant for Chinese girls in London. And I did it because I wanted to prove a point. Right. I thought maybe it would help me gain point that I'm also beautiful. Yeah. And also I thought it would help me gain confidence. And I thought, let me just do it for the experience as well. Yeah. And also because that being said, although I said I'm not confident with my looks, I've always loved performing. I am a bit of a show off. So that sense, I was confident in that sense. So taking part in a beauty pageant, when you got to do to showcase your talent, I had no problem with that because I love performing, right? Anyway, I did belly dancing. Anyway.
Ooh.
So I took part in that. So then because it was a beauty pageant for Chinese girls, Chinese beauty standards are very different. I don't know if you know about this, but my size is considered big in my culture. Yeah, I know. They're all very petite and slim, and so obviously in my mind I'm thinking, shit, you're gonna compete with all these like petite girls who are gonna find you fat, basically. So what are you gonna do, Celia? So okay, let me research about nutrition, how to lose weight, how to slim down. So I went to gym every single day, did 20 minutes of cardio, did a little bit of legs, and that was it. And I did lose the weight. I did. And that kind of boosted my confidence, right? Anyway, took part. I didn't win, but anyway, that was a whole scam. That thing was a whole scam. Anyway, that's another whole story. Let's just say basically, they did the finals never happened. After they chosen like the next the contestants to go to the next final, it never happened. It just disappeared. Yeah,
that's so strange.
Yeah, so but anyway, so that did it gain did I gain confidence from it? Not really. It was fun though. Definitely, it was fun. But that's where it started. But then I met my boyfriend at the time. He then introduced me to fitness properly. He took me to a bodybuilding gym. How scary is that for a girl who's not into fitness, taking me to a bodybuilding gym with all this big muscular man? Yeah, so anyway, but so he trained me and started teaching me to train my upper body. When I started seeing the results in 3 weeks, I was like, oh my God, looks like maybe I can get my dream body. And then so then I started getting really into the fitness, and I think about 6 months later I decided I want to become a personal trainer.
Oh my God.
Because it also helped me gain my confidence. And I thought, I know there are a lot of women out there who are like me, scared to lift weights because they think they're not strong enough, or they don't want to. They scared to look manly. But I found out that no, not only doesn't make me look manly, it also make me mentally stronger, and the confidence that I'm just walking differently, and I'm speaking differently. So I was like, you know what, I'm become personal trainer to empower women through fitness, and that's how this woman empowerment self-love journey started.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I'm genuinely grateful for women like you, because when I started my health journey, it's like women who create content like yours who talk about the fact that lifting weights is not manly that helped me so much in the beginning. It sounds like you came into a new layer and you wanted to share that with other people.
There's a lot more, to be honest. Fitness is only like probably the first step of the confidence journey, but we can talk about more of that. But tell me about your weight loss journey while we're on there.
Oh gosh, yes, I've been a big girl from young.
I've seen on your pictures.
Yeah, I was really and my weight just kept increasing as I got older. I got to the point where I was over 300 pounds, and I was already coaching at this point, you know, and I didn't never branded myself as like the plus size femininity coach, but I was known as, okay, this is the coach who is also plus size and feminine. But you know, a lot of the things I talk about include treating yourself like you love yourself, etc. And there was always one component of femininity that I was afraid to address, which was the health and wellness piece, because I didn't feel like I had that in order. And I had a very interesting moment when I'm somewhat living the dream. I was with my partner at the time, and he'd taken me out for Valentine's week. He took me to Montenegro, and we're getting on the plane, and I'm so excited because, like, vacation, all expenses paid. I'm living the life. And we get on the plane, and I kept nervously glancing at him because it was really difficult for me to do my seatbelt. And I'm like, am I really going to be living this life? And I'm going to be the girl who has to ask for a seatbelt extender. And that's when it kind of hit me that, you know, this is really uncomfortable for me. And I was always confident, but there was just that one piece that I was like, you know, when you look at other girls, and I was just always aware that I'm the biggest person in the room.
Yeah.
And I also felt like I wasn't able to fully show myself because my style knowledge, like I'd coach my clients on improving their style and showcasing themselves, and I felt like I wasn't doing myself justice because there were just not clothes made for my size. Like at one point I was a size 26 UK, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And I always carried everything very well, like I'm very knowledgeable in that. But I just felt stuck, and it got to the point, babe, that I thought, you know what? I've just been trying these diets. I lose some weight, but then I feel so depressed.
Mm.
I end up gaining all the weight back. And last summer, I went to the US, and my friend was just like, why don't you come to yoga with me? And I'm thinking, yoga, like stretching, what is that gonna do? But she was like, this is not for you to lose weight or
Mm.
anything. I just want you to have some time to connect to your body. And for 1 hour a day, I just have time to be at peace and be at rest. And I start to see my anxiety start to reduce. But yoga, I'm sure you know this, with you do Pilates as
Mm-hmm.
well. It allows you to get centered and start to listen to your body.
Yeah.
And after a week, and babe, can I tell you this?
Mm-hmm.
I was doing restore yoga. So that's like bedtime yoga. And the instructor's like, okay, now we're going to get into this pose and, wind down, and you should be very relaxed. And I'm looking around the room like, relaxed? I am sweating buckets. And you telling me we're going to end like this? I can only hold this for like 10 more seconds, girl. But I pushed through that, and something started to happen. I started to realize, like, oh my gosh, like my knee is not hurting anymore. I was like, wait, my knee was hurting. Like, it started to dawn on me, like, how much I wasn't listening to my body. My knee's been hurting for years, and I just normalized that. Like, sometimes I'd eat and I'd feel sick, and I was normalizing that. But yoga started to make me listen to my body, and it started to make me look at my diet,
Mm.
because I would realize I didn't always feel good after I ate. I'd feel tired. Sometimes I'd actually be sick. And so I was looking into it, and I realized I had a lot of allergies.
Mm.
And so yoga was really the beginning of everything. And then I started changing my diet. And for me, like 80% of it is diet,
Mm-hmm.
but 80% of my diet was emotions, because I
Mm.
was just eating as a way to, as a soothing mechanism. So if I'm stressed, I'll
Mm-hmm.
eat. If I'm angry, I'm eat. If I'm happy, I eat. If I want to
Yeah.
celebrate, I eat. So I was just eating, 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 eating. And so I started doing intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I started to see my body change. But I felt good. I had energy. I was excited. Like I still touch myself a lot because I feel bones I've never felt before. Like,
Mm.
it's so weird. Sometimes I'll be in bed and I'll just be like, oh, there's a bone there. And so I lost like 60 pounds in 6 months.
Wow. That's
So
10
I
pounds a
dropped a
month.
lot. Yeah, I dropped a lot of weight in the beginning, but I was also morbidly obese. So I had a
Mm.
lot of weight to
Mm.
lose. And when I came back to London, I started looking into, because obviously when you start to lose weight, you see your body change. And I'm like, I don't have a big butt. Like, my boobs are starting to go. I had ginormous boobs. They're still big now, but they were going. And I started watching some podcasts, and
Mm.
it was saying like, lift weights.
Mm.
Lift weights. And I started lifting weights just so I could eat more food, because if you build more muscle,
Metabolism will
your
increase, yeah.
I actually saw my doctor recently, and she did a colonic for me. She's like, your metabolism is great. I'm like, that's why I go gym. That's why I lift weights. And I started to realize that I can actually shape my body in the way that I
Mm.
want. I've
Yeah.
always been ashamed of my legs.
Yeah.
And now my legs are like my proudest part of my
Oh
body.
my God, that's same with
Really?
me. Because growing up, I always tell this story. Growing up, so like I said, as a Chinese girl,
Yeah.
my legs are known to be considered big.
Yeah.
So growing up, I've always had Chinese Chinese family and friends saying to me, "Oh, your legs are a bit chunky. Your legs are quite chunky, aren't they?" Or names like elephant leg, front of the thighs, all of that stuff, right? And my hips. Oh wow. You can definitely give have no problem giving birth. All of that kind of stuff. Okay. Anyway, so I used to be so ashamed of my legs.
Yeah.
There was one point in my life, I think between 15 to 17,
Mm-hmm.
I did not expose my leg at all. I was how insecure I was. Even it was the hottest day of the
Yeah.
summer, I'll
Yeah.
still wear jeans to cover it up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even wear long dresses just in case I have to pull it up. No.
Mm.
Always have to cover it. Always wearing
Yeah.
black.
Yes.
And now How cool, this is my asset.
Yes.
I love my legs.
I was looking at you when you were walking out. I was checking you out. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like we should talk about that because I think there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to weightlifting.
Yeah.
Like, what were your fears when you first started?
If I train upper body, I'll look like a man. I'll look so manly and
Yeah.
just horrible. Like having muscles, it's like, oh, I don't want muscles, but we all have muscles. Is a human body. We have muscles, but it's just how much muscles you have.
Yeah.
That was the misconception. And obviously I hear that all the time from my clients saying,
Yeah.
oh, but I don't want to get muscles. It's horrible. The word term is misused. People think, oh, they use it. It's like a marketing term for women who don't want to be muscular. It's like if you say, oh, you're going to be toned. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But you know, you're still getting muscle.
Yes.
To be toned, you're building muscles.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so basically, here my clients always say, oh, yeah, I just want to look toned.
Yeah.
But you mean you want to be muscles?
Yes.
Yeah, that. Another thing is people are always, a lot of girls now, they train only train lower body. They don't train upper body because right now there's a trend in it, just big bum.
Yeah.
So all they do comes, I just see girls, they train hard on their bum.
Yeah.
But they have like no strength upper
yeah.
body. Yeah. But you have to understand, think of it in a vitality way. When you get to a certain age, I know some of you are young, you probably have still a long way to go, but as you get to a certain age, as especially women, we like menopause, estrogen, we lose estrogen. Our muscle, we start to lose our muscle, and afterwards, like how you see some old people, they can't even get up off the chair.
Yeah.
It's because we're losing the muscle.
Yes.
So you want to know, you want to train your upper body as well, because for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. That was a big factor for me as well, because I'm like, I want to be a mother. I want to be around for a long time.
You want to be able to hold them,
yes,
innit? Yeah.
I want to get down on the floor and play with you and not be like, oh, I can't get up and stuff. And that, I think that toning piece is so true, because for when I first started, so I lost 60 pounds in 6 months, in less than 6 months, but that was like all just cardio, yoga, and diet.
Yeah.
And then when I started lifting weights, I initially just started with legs, because I was afraid that if I build any muscles, I'm going to look like a man.
And I also want to go back onto when you said about yoga, when you realized you were connecting with your body. So if you don't know about the feminine energy, that is a perfect example of her connecting with her feminine energy. Because when you connected to your feminine energy, tapping into it is when you're connected to your body. That is a perfect example. So that's probably also unlocked a new layer of feminine energy there.
100%. I was just doing a live last night, and I said that I've never been more in my feminine. And initially I thought that losing weight would make me more feminine. And I realized it was getting more in tune with my feminine energy that helped me lose the weight.
Yeah, talk about that, because I used to see, I remember when I used to work in a gym, I see a lot of women, they come to the classes, they go hard. Nothing wrong if you want to like a intense workout, but they do all the the circuit, boot camp, all of that, right? And yes, they lose all the weight, but feminists, please don't attack me on this now. Basically, they've become really masculine. Working out, yes, okay, lifting weight doesn't make you masculine, but it's the way you approach it can make you very masculine. So for example, as I said, these women, the way they're training always hard, like going hard, thinking they have to go hard like men. That's what making them very masculine. But our body is not the same as women. We can't be training like men because first of all, our hormones are different. We have the menstrual cycle.
Absolutely.
And it's totally different. And all the research, like about how HIIT is good for you and all of that, all this fitness research and nutrition research were mainly done on men, not really on women.
Yeah. That piece, I think, is probably one of the most like underrated parts of this whole aspect. When I'm so grateful that I started with yoga, because I think if I didn't, I would have approached things the wrong way. I mean, that is what I did in the past. It was just treadmill. And now I'm wondering why I'm miserable.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting. Before I lift weights, I always do a little bit of yoga, like a 10-minute stretch.
To warm up.
Actually, I started doing it because it just eased my anxiety. Because sometimes, like, going on that gym floor, and I go to a bougie gym, I go to Third Space.
Okay.
So they are
I know, I've been there before.
Yes. Yeah. And so it can be quite intimidating. And so I just found that, okay, if I just stretch, if I do 2 minutes of breath work, I can relax and get out of my head and focus on this movement.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about that masculine and feminine piece, because exploring that was so interesting. So I started noticing, unlike when I was just dropping like fat, I'm pretty sure I lost muscle in the beginning as well. I was just dropping everything. I was just feeling confidence on the outside because my body was looking better. When I started losing weight, I started setting different kind of boundaries. I mean, when I started lifting weights, I started setting different boundaries with people. And it was something about that, just that I'm going to push myself in this moment to hit a new PR or something. I remember once someone made me angry. And my old response when someone makes me angry is, I'm going to go somewhere and eat and soothe myself. And I was like, wow, this is a perfect opportunity to hit a new PR. I just think about that person as I'm doing this bench press. And I think that's a really interesting aspect, is like, that's the masculine, like you trying to channel that anger, that emotion. But that feminine piece is really important, because you mentioned, for example, we have cycles. Our hormones change. There's times in a month where we just don't have the energy. There's times in a month where our body needs to start working to build up progesterone. And so we actually need to be eating differently. And so, like you said, all of these studies are done on men. And so it's not keeping in mind those different aspects of how we change on a monthly basis. But how do you find your femininity in your health and your fitness journey? Or how do you integrate like your femininity
Okay,
into
so
that?
I like that question. So, if you follow me as well, you know that I talk a lot about the menstrual cycle syncing with my fitness and my life. Anyway, so that is how I embrace my femininity. Syncing, honoring my menstrual cycle is my way of embracing my feminine energy. So, for example, when I'm on my period, I do not work out because this is also a little bit of the woo-woo side of things now, the spiritual side. So, when we come on, a lot is going on in our body. And this is a time when we want to be sort of taking our time, taking everything slowly, reset, rejuvenate, reflect, journal, meditate, whatever, things like that. You don't want to stress your body because, like I said, your body's already going a lot. So also, this is a time when we are the most intuitive. So that's why I said sit down in a quiet place, reflect on what's been happening and things like that. And also, if I want to be more spiritual, basically 1,000 years ago, we women, for those who had the period, they were considered sacred. So there's like a sisterhood. You will sit with the moon, or you sit behind a veil, and then these men will come to you, ask for your wisdom, because we're the most intuitive, like that. Anyway, so that, and then so after then, so if I do want to move, so maybe like towards the end of my cycle, my period, then I'll do something that's more flowy. So I'll never do nothing strenuous, no lifting, nothing like that. Always just flowy or nothing at all.
Love that.
Or I'll go to park, connect to nature. After my period, then I start waking up my body, like doing a bit more cardio. I still do lift weights, but just not as going as heavy. When I ovulate, then I'll go heavy. I might go do some more like bit more hit workout. Luteal phase before my period, then I start to slow down like that. So that's how I embrace the femininity.
I love that. That's very similar to what I do as well. Like, once I'm in the actual like shedding phase, I slow everything down. I don't lift weights at that time. I just do yoga. I do sound baths. I do breathwork classes during that time. I'll go to the gym and I'll journal. Like, they have like this recovery lounge. I'll just sit there. I'm like, what did we accomplish this month? Where are we going next month?
And I think another thing I do is I drink cacao, ceremonial grade cacao, and set my intentions when on my like journal when I am on my period.
Interesting. What's that ceremonial grade?
So basically, so you know, like the raw form of chocolate, right? There's two different types of cacao. The cacao, the one that you normally get on the Holland Barry, is not the same as the ceremonial one.
Okay.
I guess I might get this wrong, but from my understanding, it's basically it's been grown by this like more like sacred place, and it's probably, I guess, been blessed by, for example, depending where you get it from. So let's say if it's Mexico, by the Mayans, right? But anyway, so they believe in the Mayan culture, they believe the cacao, there's a spirit living in there. and basically and it helps you when you drink. It connects with your heart, your soul, your higher self. It heals the heart basically. But scientifically, the cacao also will help you ease any period pains and things like that. And I think obviously you've got high in zinc and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I'll definitely have to
Yeah.
check that out. Yeah. I think the ovulation phase is probably my favorite time to go to the gym. It's a little bit naughty, because that's but that's when you feel the sexiest,
Yeah,
right?
and you're more extroverted. You're sort of like look.
Yes.
It's not your hunting, but you're maybe a lot more kind of looking around, be like, okay, who's that cutie over there?
That's when your gym fit comes together.
Yeah.
Let me add a bit extra
Ovulation is
weight.
probably our best time, isn't it? Yeah.
That is actually our best time for us, if for us to go on dates,
Yeah.
for us to network,
Yeah.
and meet with people, because we're just in this space of exuding.
Yeah,
like
want to go
that
out, be more
beautiful-
social.
Yes,
Yeah. I really hope you're liking this episode so far. And if you are, then please give me a like. If you're on Spotify, give me a follow. If you're on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you also won't miss any new episodes, any content. And also you'll be helping me grow my YouTube channel. Please, that would mean the world to me. All right, anyway, let's get back to the episode. And that's why sometimes, like when I'm on period, also I don't do as much work as well at home. I stay at home more. I don't really go out. People say, "Do you want to go out?" I'm like, not really. I just want to stay at home.
Yes.
Hibernate. Okay, so I want to ask you this question. I think a lot of people ask you. You probably just mentioned about this in your Instagram. How to stay feminine whilst building your business, because you've built a business, you've built basically an empire. How can you be feminine and not be so masculine doing it?
Oh gosh, I think it's not easy at all. Just because the business world can be quite a masculine space.
Especially like the society, we celebrate the masculine way of doing things. Just doing, goal, ticking boxes and things like that.
Yeah, it's all hustle. And I think I work specifically when I coach, I work with ambitious women. So these are women who are quite high achievers. And that's because it's hardest for them to really stay in their feminine energy. And what I do myself and what I've learned with them is we really need to reframe how we see things. Number one is productivity. Most of the time, and you can tell if you're one of these people who, when you're resting, you feel this internal fidget of, I should be doing something, I could be doing something. And I think number one is changing how you view productivity. And this is scientific as well, but in order for you to be your most productive, you have to rest. Right? And ironically, we think that if we're resting, then we're not being productive. And that's definitely one aspect that it's important for us to not neglect. And especially, I mean, this is for mothers as well. You have to have non-negotiable you time in your day, every single day. It's not just, everyone thinks self-care is self-care Sunday, and Sunday is the only day that you take care of yourself. It's like, no, you should have 1 hour non-negotiable time. If you're a business owner, if you're in a corporate world, that's just for you. And I draw ambitious women, so sometimes they make the mistake of thinking this means, oh, this is time for me to read my self-help book, and this is time for me to take my online course. No, that's not what I mean. It's just you and whatever you want to do. I also find that, you know, when we truly understand what it is to be feminine, I genuinely believe as women, by the way, that we should have harnessed both our masculine and our feminine energies. Although the majority of us lean heavily more naturally on one side than the other. So for me, I'm like 80-20, 80% in my feminine, 20% in my masculine. That 80% of my feminine shows up in my business though. So for example, being charming and being intuitive, right? Being creative. I leverage creativity so much when it comes to like my ambition and my work. Getting to know like what are your things, and you might be an accountant and you might be saying like, Kat, how am I gonna leverage creativity as an accountant? creativity could look like you. I've seen my client do this. She came up with a formula to solve a problem at her job, and they were so impressed that they started looking at her to move into a higher position, because they're like,
Wow.
you solved a massive issue for us. So I think the creativity, the rest, and I'll say one more important thing when it comes to being feminine, when you're ambitious or when you're an entrepreneur, is how can you make things playful, and how can you make things fun,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I was gonna say also, like, the playfulness, like, when you said earlier about the mum being not just Sundays,
Yes.
every single day. So I say every single day, look on your calendar. Have you prioritized yourself as in something that's have you something that brings you joy?
That's
Because being in your feminine is, again, being in touch with your emotions, your body. How does it feel? So if you're doing something that brings you joy, and you feel it,
yeah.
then you're gonna be, like, basically radiating that
Yes.
feminine energy,
Yeah.
and you're more in flow.
Yeah.
Um, and also, what did you say about the second part again? Forgot.
Creativity,
Yeah.
playfulness, and rest,
Rest.
self-care.
Yeah, rest. And also, sometimes the resting bit
Yeah.
is the receiving bit as
Yes.
well. Because let's say, like, you could be resting, you might not be you might think you might not be doing, but you're delegating your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're delegating, you're basically receiving help from other people, and that is part of the feminine energy.
That is so powerful.
Yeah.
That I It took me a really long time to
Mm.
learn that part. Like when I first started my business, obviously social media girl right here,
Mm.
and people kept telling me, Kat, you have to hand off your social media to someone,
Mm.
and I wouldn't let go. And
Mm.
so many other people are like this. They have this one thing, and they think they have to do it all by themselves.
Mm.
And have you ever felt like that? Like, if I do it all by myself, then I can be more proud about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So this, to be honest, this is still something that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think also it's the trust issue.
Yeah.
So I've been working on that a lot. So I'm a lot better now. I've learned how to surrender. So last year my word was surrender.
Mm.
And again, surrender, flow.
Yeah.
Going with the flow is the feminine energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, so sometimes there are days where, like, oh my God, I haven't done all of this stuff,
Yes.
and I feel like shit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a good person, but I'm not productive. Like, my worth, oh my God, shit. Like, I'm not a hardworking person. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's not really about ticking boxes. It's sometimes it could literally just be, I just been sitting there brainstorming, being creative and things
Yes.
like that. So yeah.
Yeah. That it's actually a gift,
Mm.
us receiving. We
Mm-hmm.
don't even see it like that, but it's a gift, because when you receive, when you delegate, when you allow someone else to help you, you're giving them the opportunity to showcase their strengths.
Exactly that as well. Yeah, yeah.
And on a scientific level,
Mm.
science has shown when you ask someone to do a small favor for you,
Mm.
they actually end up liking you more. Isn't that
Yeah.
interesting?
Yeah. I think. She was at the gym, and she was carrying these, like, two dumbbells down her
Yeah.
stairs.
Uh-huh.
And they were like 2 k, 8 kgs.
Mm-hmm.
And the man was like, "Oh, do you need help with those?" And she was like, "Okay."
Yes.
See, she was receiving, no ego there. So yeah, okay, thank you. And then so he brought them down for her.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so then when she went downstairs, and he saw she was like lifting, like squatting 100 kg, and he was like, he was laughing. He was like, "Oh, you didn't need my help." There's like, "Oh, I hope you didn't feel offended," because that man obviously knows a lot of women would feel offended, like
Yes.
thinking, "What, you think I can't carry this myself?" But
Yeah.
the fact that she accepted the help, she was like, "Oh yeah,
Yes.
of course." And he was like, "Oh, why didn't you just say, I hope you're not offended?" And she was like, "No, because I thought it was such a nice gesture.
Yes.
I didn't want to reject that, and
Yes.
you're being kind, so I said
Yeah.
yes." And then he said, "Oh, thank you. That actually made me feel really good," and he was really
Yeah.
happy about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so perfect. And that shows like the misconceptions when it comes to receiving. We think that we only need to receive when we need something.
Yeah.
But sometimes, even if we don't need something, we can still receive because, again, it's a gift.
Yeah.
But actually, speaking of misconceptions, like I know you're all about self love and all of that. And we just talked about self love is not just on Sundays,
Yeah.
you know? Like, what would you say are the biggest misconceptions you see in the work that you do when it comes to self love?
So he used to like annoy me when I hear this. So people say, "Oh, I'm getting my nails done. I'm getting my hair done. I'm gonna treat myself to a piece of chocolate cake because I deserve it because it's a self-love day." Those are not self-love. Those are self-care practices. Don't get me wrong; they are still important. They are part of your self-love, but self-love isn't doing these stuff. Self-love is self-acceptance. It's accepting who you are,
Yeah.
having compassion for yourself,
Yeah.
and being gentle to yourself, having boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
putting yourself first. It's a lot deeper basically. It's not such just also I would say there's like different levels. So one the easiest one is saying affirmations.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with them. Obviously they're a good starting point. But when as you get deeper in this journey, self-love journey, you realize self-love don't sorry, affirmations don't mean nothing if you don't embody it and if you don't mean it. And also experiences will come up and they'll start testing your self-love and your boundaries, and you will realize that self-love is actually so hard meaning, I'll give you an example. So when your boundaries are tested, for example, so I tell you my experience. About 10 months ago I had to break up with a guy I was seeing. I had to, although I love him, but I love myself more, because it got to a point I realized that, you know what, he's not giving me what I want. He was practically, basically, breadcrumbing me, and I was like, you know what, I deserve more. Although I love you, I love our special connection that we have, but it's hurting me what the situation. So I love you, but I love myself more. So I gotta walk away from it. And obviously, it takes a lot for to walk away from a situation, like, especially if you love that person and you know you've been into it with someone. I know a lot of girls will stay in that situation, just settle for good enough. No, you don't settle for good enough. If you're a queen, queens don't settle for good enough.
Yeah.
Queen knows what they want. They honor their desire. They honor themselves, and that is self-love.
Yes.
Self-love is really saying is putting yourself first. You're putting yourself first, even in situation that is difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That is so essential, and I'm glad that you said that it's not easy,
Mm.
because it can, even the word, it sounds nice, it sounds sweet.
Mm.
You know, when you mentioned that self-love includes setting boundaries, that stood out to
Yeah.
me. That took me time to learn.
Mm.
You know, like I was caught up in thinking it was just bubble baths and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, self-love is also having the hard
Mm-hmm.
conversations, sometimes even with yourself.
Yeah.
And what you were just speaking about, I literally just had a conversation with my cousin.
Mm.
I think this will tie into the next thing I'm super
Mm.
curious about with you. He was saying he has a girlfriend and she
Mm.
was really just disrespecting the
Mm-hmm.
boundaries. And I told him, like, this one thing that she wants to do is just, if she loves you, this is not something someone would do if they respected you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she goes ahead and does it, it's a no.
Mm.
And he says he understood that, but he was just being so open and vulnerable. He's like, I'm afraid that even if she does it and I'm angry, I'm still gonna go back to her. And when I asked him what makes him feel that way, like why, it really came down to he's not happy with where he is in his life right now. And so I'm sure you've come across that with other women that you've worked with, like when they are disappointed, when they feel like they've let themselves down, when they feel like they're not being them best selves, how can they show themselves self-love when they may not feel like they're deserving of love?
First of all, you need to, this is all to do with the inner work, healing.
Yeah.
Go back to the childhood traumas. It's a thing, and this is scary. I know it's a lot, but you need to first of all accept for who you are, forgive your past. Self-love is not judging yourself; it's being easy on yourself. Okay, let's say you have a baby.
Yeah.
You will be gentle and have so much compassion for that baby, right? So treat yourself like a baby. So we're all human. We all make mistakes. So let's say, for example, people and some cultures, you have to have achieved this, blah blah blah, and because you haven't met those society expectations,
Yeah.
then you obviously be like, oh no, I'm not happy with my life, blah blah. But you have to accept for where you are, because stop comparing.
Yeah.
Everyone's journey is different.
Yeah.
And you don't loving yourself is not have to you don't have to like yourself,
Yes.
but you have to love yourself for who you are. Definitely compassion is the biggest one. Yeah.
If I came to you and I'm like, okay, what can I practically do to show myself more compassion? Like, what would you say to me?
Oh. So let's say if it's a project or like career, celebrate every single small wins, because everyone always think people disregard the small wins and they're so not present. They just think in the future, but you've forgotten like your the progress. So this is I can't remember where I heard this from, but this is a really good example. So let's say when you're on a mountain, you hike up the mountain, right? But when you on the mountain, as you're walking up, it doesn't look like it's going up.
Right.
You're just on flat land. But when you look back down, you're
Yeah.
like, shit, I've actually climbed so high. So this is a perfect example in life where basically you're so focused on going to the top, going forward, but you forgot, wait, I've just done all of this. So this is what I mean. So this is but a part of the compassion and not judging yourself. Enjoy the process and be intentional with what you do.
Yeah.
And when you look back, you'll be like, shit, damn, I've actually done a lot. One thing I would suggest as a thing that you could do is, let's say on your journal or a piece of paper, whatever, every single time you've done something that you feel like was a small win or big win, even something that made you happy, write it down. Then when you look back, you'll be like, actually, you know what? I've done all of this stuff.
Right. Love that. I think if we made a journal, there's 2 prompts that comes up that I'm like would definitely be on this. Number one is like, and it's funny because these are actually in my daily journals. Number one is, how did you take care of yourself? Every day, how did you take care of yourself yesterday? And then the second one is, what are you proud about yourself? So
like
it's
that.
like that self-love, that reflection. That's really beautiful.
And also talk about the self-reflection and femininity energy, feminine energy. When you tune in, I think we said this earlier, when you tune in with your body and actually ask yourself, how does this situation make me feel? This is the boundaries, by the way. Yeah. How does this make me feel? If this does not make me feel good, does make me feel anxious or angry or just weird, just off. Then that's one, you tapping into your body, that's the feminine energy. And two, then you listen to yourself and don't go forward, go ahead with whatever it is you're gonna do.
Trust your intuition.
Intuition and also respecting your boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. I want to add something to this because boundaries, I think, is one of the things that I find when women actually are feminine, because we have a divine feminine and the wounded feminine. And so I think a misconception a lot of people make initially is they think, oh, I work with like lots of masculine women. It's actually no, I work with mostly feminine women, but they're in their wounded energy. And one of those things is agreeableness, like being overly agreeable, not setting boundaries.
Yes.
Being a yes woman. And so like that boundary piece is so important. I think one of the things that allows you to be able to set boundaries and trust your intuition is you actually have to know what your values are. Like actually sit down and write down. I did this with my coach. Like, what are your values? And when I did this for my business, because I was so afraid in my business. I have a team of being like the devil wears Prada. Because my first boss, hope she never sees this, but she was like that. She was known for having that reputation. And so when it came to my team, when I needed to set boundaries or request for things, I was always like, please and hopefully and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like supposed to be the leader. And so when I wrote down my values, one of my values was ownership. One of my values was high quality. And that allowed me to be in my divine masculine in my business and actually set boundaries and move forward because I was so clear and certain on what those values are. And I think to get to that boundaries piece, you have to know what your values are.
Yeah, and also I want to add to, for example, you said yes, being a yes person. It's comes down to you got to be your true authentic self. Again, it's a part of self-love. Be your true authentic self. And when you love yourself, you would honor your needs, as I said. You know what you want. You won't dim your light for nobody. You're not afraid of what people are thinking, because you love yourself. You want what's best for you, and so you will have the confidence to say no.
Yeah.
And if you are a yes person, then go back to on your self love. Why is it that you're always saying yes? Is it because you're scared that you won't be liked? You're scared you're being judged. If you love yourself enough, you wouldn't care what people think. You would just go with what you want.
That girl. That I think that's a massive thread in all of my journeys, my health journey. Me doing yoga.
Yeah.
I'm 300 pounds. And I see this now because I see my friends. And they were smaller than me, right? And now, like, I'm smaller, and they're obviously curious, like, what do you do? And I'll say to them, like, you don't have to do cardio. You don't even have to lift weights yet. Just increase your movement, try yoga. And my friend will say to me, like, my boobs are too big for yoga. And I'm like, we're not using our breasts to do the actual movement. Like,
I get it though. Like, you put both in the face. Down with dogs. And
it's like, no, we get you good sports bra. Oh no, I lost my train of thought. What was I just saying?
You were saying, because I said something about, if you love yourself enough, you won't be scared of what people think.
Right. Yeah. So then, I was so nervous to start yoga because I'm like, women like me shouldn't be doing yoga. But then I did it, and then because the thing is, you say to yourself, I'm not strong enough to lift weights. I'm not flexible enough to do yoga. I'm not healthy enough to eat well. It's eating well that makes you healthy. It's doing yoga that makes you flexible. It's lifting weights that makes you strong. And so when it came to dancing, that was another fear of mine. I was like, oh, but I'm not a dancer. And I really wanted to dance. And obviously we met each other like just a few days ago at Manor. I was at a dance class with my mum, actually. It's beautiful to bring her 56-year-old woman doing an Afrobeats class.
That.
And you're such a great dancer.
Oh, thank you.
No, you really are. I was watching one of your videos, and so this is a little bit of a selfish question, because one of the things I want to work on. Your energy when you dance, it just radiates.
Oh, thanks.
Oh my, it's one of the things I really want to work on, because I'll watch my videos back and I've got concentration face on.
What kind of energy are you talking about? I'm radiant. What do you mean?
Like confidence.
Oh, okay, same.
Certainty.
Okay.
You could, I don't know the routine, but even if you messed it up, we wouldn't know, right? Because you've got that energy. So number one, for people who are afraid to do things like dancing or Pilates, how can they get started? And then number two, like, how do you really let go when you're dancing so you can really just exude that energy?
First of all, thank you, because I've still got a long way to go. But first of all, like I said, don't worry about what people think. If you want to get, let's say Pilates, for example, because I not always get it always like, oh, but I'm not flexible. You do yoga, you do Pilates to get flexible, right? I think also because we're so worried about what other people are thinking, like people next to us. Oh yeah, but I'm going to be surrounded by people who are already really flexible. You think they woke up like that? They obviously went there and they were consistent. Consistency is where it's going to get you to where you want to be. So just do it. Don't worry. So do it for yourself. You're not doing it for other people. You're doing it for yourself, right? If you love yourself, you can do it for yourself. Anyway, so to dancing. Okay, I know, again, it's quite daunting, especially if you see other people's are good and you're like, oh, I'm a beginner. I went to my first dance class by myself. I didn't go with a friend. I literally, so I've never been to a dance school or nothing like that, but I've always just loved dancing. Only when I danced when I was young. But officially, like, training, heels class in 2019. And I literally just went there by myself, not knowing anyone. But I just wanted to do something for myself, because also, that's why. I left a long-term relationship, and I thought, when you leave a relationship and you start glowing, because you start doing the stuff that you want to do. That's what I did. I just want to do something that I've always wanted to do, and that was dancing. And heels dance, I discovered heel dance. Actually, I discovered because I was watching some LA choreographers. Do you know Alia Janelle?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so when I discovered her back in 2017, I was like, oh my God, I wish I could dance like her. So I was in a relationship back then. When I saw her, I'd always watch her stuff. And then when we broke up 2 years later, I was like, I wish there were some classes like Aaliyah. And I discovered this girl who was my teacher for like 3 years. So I went to her class and she was dancing like Aaliyah Janelle, like hip hop twerking in heels and all of that. I was like, I'm going to a class. So that's how it all started. So basically, my point is, go do something that brings you joy. Do it for yourself and nobody else.
Yeah.
Now, how can you not care and just let go? Let me give you this analogy. Like, let's imagine you're not a dancer, but you go to a club or a bar, and there's music and people just dancing. Okay, let's say you're sober anyway. You're dancing, you're living the best time of your life. Yeah, you don't care. Maybe you have no rhythm, no musicality, but you're still dancing, or like there's no tomorrow, whatever. And then someone goes and these ladies will be like, does she know that she looks stupid? Does she think she's a good dancer or something? Or we're criticizing her or anything like that. But deep down inside, these ladies are probably hating on your confidence. They just hate. They wish they could have your confidence. Wish they could be like so free. They just envy your freeness. And so my point is, just go and do it for yourself again, but do it because you you just want to live life, basically, like that. When I'm dancing, don't get me wrong, when I started training, I was so much in my head. I wanted to get the routine perfect. I was to beat myself up.
That's me right
and and then I also wanted to become a professional dancer. So there was a lot of pressure there. But then it got to a point when I did one show. It was a lot. It traumatized me. I got PTSD from it, basically, this show, and I didn't dance for like 2 years. But the reason I'm telling you this, because now that I'm back dancing, I'm no longer caring about the choreography. That's why I can let go. I'm just in my body. I'm just gonna enjoy and have fun with it. That's why I can let go. I just want to show that sassy Cilia, the baddie Cilia. This is my time to let her shine, basically.
So really do it for you, not to impress anyone else.
Yeah, basically. I'm saying all of that. Yeah, basically. But also another thing is, to be honest, since I've started dancing, one thing that I've always been good at is my facial expressions. Always being in my feels and just like it's dancing for me is like my space of where I can release that sassy Cilia. Like just let her out, the dark feminine, like kind of thing.
Maybe you just unlocked something.
Okay.
Because that's me. It's my face.
Yeah.
Like I'll be enjoying it, but I'll watch the video back. I'm like, girl, you really concentrating. And one of my followers, I posted this video of me dancing. And when we post stuff and we're like, oh, look, I tried and I didn't do it. But really, you're like, I did it. And they were like, yeah, girl, keep trying. And I was like, oh. And they were like, I love how hard you're concentrating. I was like, yeah, I need to work on this concentration phase. But I find when I try and pull in my dark feminine energy, I feel unstoppable.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to use... I have a class this evening, so I'm going to use that this evening.
I think also just think that when you're dancing, like I said, don't focus too much on the choreography. I mean, it's nice to get it all right? Because it makes you feel even more like powerful. Yes. But just think you're there to flirt with life. You're doing something that brings you joy. It's flirting. Flirting with, or when you have the mirror, you're seducing yourself.
I love that.
You know what I mean? So for example, if you're dancing for someone, like your man or partner, they're not going to know if that routine is right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? They just care about your energy. So true. Yeah. So
true.
So even like, so this Friday just got, this Wednesday just gone. I don't know if you saw my story, but I struggled because it was commercial hip hop and it's not my bag. I'm not really a groovy type of girl. I'm more like a sexy, sensual girl. So I was struggling big time, but I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to go do my thing. I'm just doing my own version of it. But not that I changed totally, but I just did what I could. But I was just having fun.
I love that.
Yeah. I know the old me, also I posted on Instagram, but old me I wouldn't have not posted on Instagram because I'd be thinking, oh, people are going to think, oh, look at her. Like, she looks stupid. But there, I'm just having fun with life, flirting with life. But this is part of being sensual.
Yeah.
Sensuality.
So that increased my sexiness. Like my perceive sexiness once I started heels.
Yeah.
And I did it as a way to get cardio, and I think that's a
Oh
great
yeah.
thing, by the way. Like
Yeah.
feminine and
100.
fitness, do some dances.
Yeah.
But then I was like, your posture changes. Like you
Yes.
walk the treadmill.
Yeah.
I posted your treadmill video. I'll be walking on the treadmill and I'm like, everyone's looking at me. And
Because
I'm
I'm
like,
strutting.
why? And then I look in the mirror. I'm like, that's why.
Let's talk about sexy and femininity. Do they mean the same thing to you?
Good question. On a technical sense, no. Because you can be sexy and be masculine.
Yeah.
Right. Great example of that is Marlene Dietrich. She's what you would call a dandy. So she plays with the masculine and the feminine. Ruby Rose, the actress, is sexy, but she's not. She's more in her masculine energy. I think what's feminine though is being sensual and being seductive.
Yes.
That's
because sensual is being in touch with your senses.
yes. Yeah. That's to me that's the feminine piece, and that has to do with, like you said, the senses, and there's a difference between being sensual and being sexy as well, right?
Yeah.
And being seductive and being sexy. I gave this analogy, like being sexy is you saying to someone, you know, me and you are on a date right now, right? And we're having a meal, and I want to be sexy, and we start talking about yoga, and I say, oh yeah, I'm so flexible, right? That's sexy. But what's seductive is while we're eating our meal, I savor the food and I slow down and I say,
I
oh
love
my
that.
God, this salad is you've really good taste. That's seductive.
Oh, I think she's just seducing me right now.
So sexiness is about the final act. Seductiveness is about the journey, the hope, the possibility.
That is a
of
very good analogy. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah. How do you see sexiness, seductiveness?
Same. So sexy could sexy for me also is a being. Sexy is also confident. So when you're confident, you just radiate that magnetic energy, which we will go to in a sec. And for me, sexy is also being feminine, and it's like kind of like just being me, taking my time. But that's part. I guess is part of, for me. It merges both together. But sex is also sometimes could be the way I dress, but doesn't necessarily mean I have to be provocative. No, 100%. It's just my being, basically. And could be some lots of my my behavior, could be like fingers on my lip, things like that. All that.
It's so important.
Seduction is kind of using my feminine energy to ask for something like kind of let's me come to an example. For example, oh, could you do this for me, please? Like, like trying to, for me, sometimes is a little bit of that damsel in distress, a little bit, that a little bit of that as well.
So that probably means that your archetype is like mine, is the natural. So Robert Greene, in The Art of Seduction, he has seductive archetypes. One of them is the natural, and the natural has this natural ability to inspire others, to help them, to want to take care of them, to want to protect them, right?
I flirt a lot without realizing.
Okay, there we go. Does that ever get you in trouble?
God, yeah. Trouble as in sense like, now the guy thinks I like him.
Right?
And I'm just like,
I was just like this with everyone.
I'm just being nice. Like, and genuinely, like, if you get to know me, a lot of people say, like, genuinely, that's just who I am. I'm just a friendly person. And especially, I say, okay, if you know when guys, if they slide into your DMs, they might just say, hey, how are you? Sometimes I would reply. I'm like, hey, I'm good, thanks. Or they might ask me a question, I'll reply. And then they think that's an opportunity. I'm like, dude, I just replied your question. I was just not being rude. I think some guys are really used to girls being rude. And when someone's being polite, they think, oh, they must be interested. It's like, no, I'm just a polite person. That's it.
I experienced that. It's probably when I would travel to the US, that was the most common comment I got from men, is they would say things, and I don't think it's about US people in particular, but it was just very interesting. They kept saying, like, you're such a good listener. Like, I really like our conversations. You're a nice person. And I'm thinking, who are you around? Like, I'm just having a conversation with you. I'm just interested.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff is very, very, like, interesting. But again, that's like this is what I call authentic feminine energy. That's who you really are. And the more you can harness that, like, the more unstoppable you become.
Talking about dates, let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Who pays first? Who pays on date? First date. Okay, let's say first date first. Who pays on the first date?
The answer is obvious to me. It is the man.
Yeah.
The man should pay. Because, okay, I will give a caveat. It also depends on your values. Now, if you are someone who wants the relationship that you eventually end up in to be that everything is completely split down the line, 50-50, not just monetary, but also in your contributions, also in how you, like, there's no distinction between, like, what your energy is in a relationship and what the other person's energy is in a relationship, then it's different. But if you're someone who values the polarity, the chemistry of having two different kind of energies in a relationship, then I believe that the masculine person, which in most cases will be the man, should pay. And on the most simplistic level, there is nothing less attractive than a man who is not willing to just show a little bit of generosity to pay for your meal on the first date. If he can't do that and he's asking for your time and he's wanting to get to know you, what will this person be like in a relationship? This is the first impression that you're making, right? And so this is when you're supposed to be bringing your best foot forward. And so what if a guy is asking you to pay, or even like I've never offered to pay. I think sometimes girls will do that. They'll offer because they don't want to seem like they're only interested in one thing. I always say, like, I start how I mean to go on. And then also I don't want to start our connection off with lying. Like, I don't want to. So I'm not going to offer. Like, why would I lie? Yeah, let me be real. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I 100% think the man should be paying first.
Yeah.
First of all, and also, first of all, is because if you ask me on a date, of course you're going to pay.
Yes.
Like, I'm giving you my time.
Yeah, you've requested
yeah,
it.
exactly. And second of all, to be honest, it's not even about the money.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to take me to like a bougie restaurant, things like that. It's not even about that. It's for me, it's like you said, it's like the polarity. And also, it's you're showing me that you can potentially be the provider, as in the masculine side of you, because I want a masculine man. Okay, maybe some women don't really care about the masculine man, but I want a masculine man. So if you're doing that, that's one thing that's proving that you can be a masculine man and you're providing. But if you're there telling me 50-50, I mean, I'll do it, but you ain't seeing me again.
100%. I mean, I think it's very interesting because if that same man wanted to connect with a mentor, I wanted to get to know a mentor, and took that mentor out for lunch, he would feel like it's the right thing to do to pay for that lunch. So why would a potential relationship, which is something that you're hopefully going to spend the rest of your life in, why should that be deserving of less?
And also, I think also because growing up, I see my parents, like my dad's always been the one taking his wallet out. That as well. And also my dad, it's not just for us. My dad also pay for his female friends.
Right.
So I see that as that's a man.
Yeah. A provider.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's an investment as well. If someone, to me, it comes across as like I'd start questioning if the person's attracted to me. Like, that's what would happen if someone ever, no one's ever asked me, but I've certainly had times when there's been awkward silence and I'm like, wait, does he want me to, and I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, like, that's not my vibe. But then when that happened, I'm like, wait, did he not like me? So it even makes you question the attraction, because it's like, you don't even want to. And like, I'm glad that you said it doesn't need to be the most bougie restaurant, because I think sometimes that's what guys fear, is like, oh, I want you to spend copious amounts of money on me. No, take me to a place that you can afford to pay the bill for the both of us. If that is a Nando's, then offer to take me to Nando's. If that is the Ivy, then do it within your means. Start how you
and
need
also
to go
like
on.
well, I don't know about you, but I value the connection.
Yeah.
I value the person who you are, you've been authentic. Because if you're thinking taking me to a bougie restaurant, you're showing off, trying to impress me. First of all, if you can't afford that, then like what's gonna happen then? You're gonna be like you're gonna feel ashamed of
Yeah.
it, be embarrassed. You're gonna embarrass yourself. And second of all, I think is that, well, for me anyway, I'm not actually impressed by it. In fact, you actually probably put me off. The fact if you're always trying to be flashy, it puts me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what are you doing with your finances?
Yeah, and also like, are you the kind of guy that attaches your value, your identity to,
This external.
yeah, external
Yeah.
stuff? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I'm a bougie girl. I like luxury. I do it for myself. So my thing is, I think because I've had this come up where this guy, he wanted to take me out on a date, and I just said to him, I was like, I don't think you want to date me. And he was like, I want to date you. And I'm like, no, because you've told me certain things about yourself. Like he had a lot of debt. And I'm like, and he's like, but I can afford to take you out. I'm like, but you can't afford you, and it's not like you can't afford me, but it's like it wouldn't be fair for me to ask you to put yourself in a precarious position and to change who you are in order to meet the lifestyle that I like or I have. And it would be unfair of me to pretend to be into things or like places that I don't just to please you. Like we have to both work on finding people who are like us,
Yeah.
not trying to change the other person
Yeah.
to morph to fit
Exactly.
in.
Yeah. Also, I want to mention that. Let me know your thoughts. Just because sometimes, if you just because you don't pay on a date, doesn't make you feminine. As in like, you can still be masculine in all other areas of your life, because you know some girls these days now, it's become like a trend, like, oh, I'm not going to pay because I want to be my soft girl era now, because I want to be feminine. But hello, like, but if you're not feminine in all other areas of your life, it doesn't make you any more feminine. I mean, that's a good starting point because you're learning how to receive. But if you can't receive in other areas of your life, then you're still very masculine.
Yeah, it's the cloak of femininity.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. I think my last post was issue on fake femininity.
Yeah.
And this is when it's very rampant, especially when femininity became a trend on TikTok, of people wearing this identity of the feminine person without actually having the feminine energy or values in order to reap the rewards that someone with feminine energy reaps. And what happens is like, if I say to you, okay, you are in a street full of people, and how are you walking? It's like, oh, I'm gonna sway my hips, I'm walking confidently. Okay, you're by yourself, how are you walking? Oh, like, yeah, my walk would be different. I'm like, so that's not your true confidence, right?
Embodiment.
Yeah, because you would do it when no one is watching. That's real confidence, right? And so it's like the same with your femininity, your feminine energy. If you only get dressed up, if you only put makeup on, if you only wear that dress when you want something from someone, that's not who you authentically are. And that mask will slip off. And men, this is where the masculine, they're very perceptive of this. They pick up on it very early on. And I think they see it as manipulation. And so the wrong man, if he sees that, he says, bet, I'm going to manipulate you too. And I'm going to pretend like I don't see all these things so I can get now what I now decided that I want. So you can think that you can get, you're going to get what you want.
And also, I think like some women think that being feminine is like, let me get my nails done, dressing girly. Like, you can dress the part, but again, you can still be very masculine if you don't know how to receive. You struggle with receiving. You always still like, you still also always on the hustle culture, trying to tick boxes and things like that. You don't know how to slow down. Yeah, and also another thing, going back to, when we're saying that how resting more.
Yes.
We women, our body actually, biologically, we actually can't handle stress like men, which is why we burn out easier. So which is why it is normal, it's okay for us, well, we should take more time off and just like and not stress ourselves. Regulate your nervous system, to be more feminine. So, earlier I said how to be magnetic as fuck. I've seen you talk about that. This is my formula.
Ooh.
Okay? So it's like I sort of put together, not me making it into algebra formula. Anyway, so it goes. It is self-love, which is in brackets, and then self-love equals brackets, self-respect plus self-awareness plus self-acceptance plus authenticity plus kindness plus love plus let go, closing brackets, times femininity.
I love that.
So let me explain it, right? So like self-love is basically self-respect, self-acceptance, self-awareness, right? Authenticity and kindness and love and let go. Now let me explain all that. So when you have self-respect, that means you respect yourself, respect your boundaries and things like that. So now you have boundaries, you know what you want, you know what you don't want. You will then be more authentic, right? So when you're authentic, meaning that you don't give a fuck, you be who you are and things like that. So then you see how the confidence is already building there. And then when you're aware, self-aware, you're aware of like how certain things makes you feel or your surroundings. Again, you're building that confidence. That's another confidence. And when you're confident, naturally, you just start walking like you sort of end up taking space naturally, and when you're confident, you just relax, you're in your being. That's the magnetic energy. And why I added femininity in there, because yes, when you add the feminine energy in there, that's what makes you like, oof, something about her is like she's sexy and she's magnetic. And when you let go, it's like you literally let go, meaning you don't care about what people think. And when you do things with love and kindness, that's even like bonus, adding extra more to the magnetism.
Irresistible. Irresistible. And I love that you added the femininity piece, because I think that is real magnetism. Is you draw. The masculine is about pursuing. The feminine is about attracting.
I love that. Yes. And also I want to say, and this leads on to, you know how people say, I want a masculine man, because I'm very masculine, but I want a masculine man to be my feminine, to put me in my feminine. You can't attract a masculine man if you're already masculine, because the polarity, the masculine man is naturally attracted to feminine women, and a feminine woman is naturally attracted to a masculine man. So you got to do the work first. You're going to learn how to drop into feminine energy, and then the masculine man will come.
Oh, you just hit a hot button. I need a man to force me into my feminine. Okay, then you're not feminine.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you saying that you're only feminine when a man is in your life? It's like a man saying, we would think it would be ridiculous if we were talking to a man and he says, I need a woman to
make me masculine. Yes, I said that before.
Are you or not?
You're like, that sound good.
It's giving red flag.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's answer the audience question.
Oh yes,
okay.
Let's do that.
And that is the end of part 1. I don't know about you, but I thought that was juicy. Definitely one of my favorite episodes I've done so far. Next week, you better come back and tune into part 2 for the Q&A. In the meantime, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, because that will actually help me grow my channel and reach more people. And if you're on Spotify, give me a follow, give me a 5-star rating, or on iTunes, whatever it is you're using. Show me the love. And then once again, thank you so much for your love and support. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah.